Kyoto, 1615. A master swordsmith named Masamune knelt before his forge at dawn. Today he would begin crafting a katana that would take 18 months to complete. 18 months of hammering the same piece of steel. 18 months of folding, heating, cooling, repeating. 18 months of absolute focus on one singular task. His apprentice, young Teichi, watched in confusion. Master, why does one sword take so long? Other smiths make 3 swords in this time. Masamune didn't look up from his work. Other smiths make 3 mediocre swords. I make 1 perfect sword. The difference is Ichigyo Zammai. The samurai spirit of absolute focus on one thing. But master, what if you make a mistake after so many months? Then I start over. Because a warrior who divides his focus creates nothing of value. A warrior who gives everything to one task creates legends. That sword, when completed, became one of the most revered blades in Japanese history. Not because Masamune was more talented than other smiths. Because he understood something most people never learn. The power of undivided focus eliminates procrastination completely. Here's what nobody tells you about procrastination. It's not laziness. It's not lack of discipline. It's the poisonous habit of dividing your focus across too many things, creating a mental fog so thick you can't move forward on anything. The Japanese discovered the antidote 800 years ago. One principle that destroys procrastination at its root. Ichigyo Zammai. The meditation of single action. When you master this, procrastination becomes impossible. This is the warrior's way of focus. And it will change everything. Chapter 1, The Awakening. The monk who couldn't meditate. Before Masamune became a legendary swordsmith, he was a failed Zen monk. At 17, he entered a monastery seeking enlightenment. His master, a weathered monk named Hakuin, gave him one instruction: sit in meditation for 1 hour. Focus only on your breath. Nothing else exists. Masamune tried. Lasted 3 minutes before his mind wandered. He thought about his family, his future, a girl in the village, whether he'd chosen the right path, what he'd eat later, how uncomfortable his legs felt, and 100 other thoughts. After the hour, Hakuin asked, "How many breaths did you count?" I lost count immediately. How many thoughts entered your mind? And how many of those thoughts served you? Masamune was silent. Your mind is like a wild horse, Hakuin continued. It runs everywhere, serves no purpose, exhausts itself, accomplishes nothing. This is the source of all suffering. Not because you have goals unmet, but because you never truly focus on meeting them. For 6 months, Masamune practiced meditation. 6 months of trying to focus on one thing, his breath, for 1 hour. He failed every single day. His mind scattered in 1,000 directions. Plans, worries, memories, fantasies, all pulling his attention apart. One morning, frustrated beyond measure, he approached Hakuin. "Master, I cannot do this. My mind will not obey. I cannot focus for even 5 minutes." "Yes, because now you understand the problem completely. You are trying to focus on many things: breathing, not thinking, achieving enlightenment, proving yourself worthy. Too many targets. You hit none." Hakuin handed him a wooden bowl. "Go to the river. Fill this bowl with water. Walk back here without spilling a drop. Do only that. Nothing else." Masamune took the bowl, filled it at the river, began walking back. Immediately his mind started wandering. Within 10 steps, water sloshed over the edge. Again, Hakuin said. Masamune tried 30 times. Each time, his divided attention caused him to spill water. He'd think about his feet, then the bowl, then whether he was doing it right, then what Hakuin would say, and in that mental chaos, water spilled. On the 31st attempt, something shifted. Masamune stopped trying to think about multiple things. He focused only on the bowl. Not his feet. Not Hakuin's approval. Not doing it perfectly. Just the bowl. The water's surface. Its movement. That single point of focus. He walked back without spilling a drop. Hakuin smiled. This is Ichigyo Zammai. The meditation of single action. When you focus on one thing completely, that thing becomes possible. When you divide focus across many things, all things become impossible. This is why you procrastinate. Not because you're lazy, but because you're trying to hold too many things in your mind at once, and the weight paralyzes you. That lesson changed everything for Masamune. He left the monastery not as a monk, but understanding the principle that would make him legendary. Chapter 2, The Principle. The Law of Undivided Attention. Hakuin's final teaching stayed with Masamune forever. Understand this, and you'll never struggle with procrastination again. The human mind can only truly focus on one thing at a time. When you think you're focusing on multiple things, you're actually rapidly switching between them, giving full attention to none. This creates 3 deadly problems. Problem 1, decision paralysis. When you have 10 tasks you think you should do, your mind spends its energy choosing between them rather than doing any of them. This is procrastination's first weapon. It makes you think you're being productive by planning, considering, weighing options, but you're actually avoiding action through endless deliberation. Problem 2, the completion illusion. When you work on multiple projects simultaneously, you feel busy but complete nothing. Your mind mistakes activity for progress. You start 5 things, finish none, and wonder why you accomplish so little despite working constantly. Problem 3, the depth barrier. Meaningful work requires deep focus, the ability to push past surface-level thinking into profound understanding and creation. When your attention divides, you never reach depth. You stay shallow on everything, producing mediocre results that satisfy no one, especially yourself. Hakuin drew a circle in the sand. This is your focus. This is all the mental energy you have. He drew 1 dot in the center. When you focus on one thing, all your energy concentrates here. The power is immense. You break through barriers. You achieve mastery. Then he drew 10 dots scattered across the circle. When you divide focus across 10 things, each receives 1/10 of your energy. None receives enough power to break through anything. You exhaust yourself accomplishing nothing. This is the warrior principle, Ikanisatsu. 1 strike, certain death. A samurai facing 10 enemies doesn't divide his attention across all 10. He focuses completely on one, defeats him, then focuses completely on the next. Total focus, sequential execution, inevitable victory. Masamune understood. Procrastination wasn't a character flaw. It was the natural result of divided focus. Unite the focus. Eliminate the procrastination. Chapter 3, The Practice. How Masamune Forged Legends. When Masamune began forging swords, he applied Ichigyo Zammai ruthlessly. Other smiths worked on 3 or 4 blades simultaneously. While one cooled, they'd heat another. While one was being polished, they'd be folding a third. They stayed busy, completed more swords, earned more money. Masamune worked on one sword at a time. Only one. His complete attention, his entire focus, his full energy directed at a single blade from beginning to end. People thought he was inefficient. Why not maximize your output? Fellow smiths asked. Because I'm not trying to maximize output. I'm trying to maximize quality. And quality demands undivided attention. The 3 disciplines of Ichigyo Zammai. Discipline 1, the single task morning. Every morning, Masamune selected one task. Not 3. Not 5. 1, the most important task that day. He wrote it on paper, placed it where he could see it, and did nothing else until that task was complete. Some days, that one task took 15 minutes. Most days, it took hours. Occasionally, it took all day. Didn't matter. Nothing else happened until that one task was finished completely. This eliminated decision paralysis. No choosing between tasks. No wondering what to work on. No procrastination hidden as prioritization. One task. Do it. Done. Discipline 2, the environmental lock. When Masamune worked on a sword, he removed everything unrelated from his workspace. Not just physical objects, but possibilities. He couldn't work on other swords because other swords weren't there. He couldn't check on other projects because those projects were in different locations. He designed his environment to make focus easy and distraction impossible. This is the warrior's way. Don't rely on willpower. Create conditions where the desired behavior is the only option. Discipline 3, the completion commitment. Masamune never moved to a new task until the current task was completely finished. Not 90% finished. Not good enough for now. Completely done. This meant some tasks took far longer than expected. But it also meant every task actually got finished instead of joining a graveyard of abandoned projects. He discovered something profound. Completing one thing provides more satisfaction and momentum than starting 10 things. Completion generates energy. Incompletion drains it. The result. Over 20 years, Masamune created fewer swords than any smith of his generation. Maybe 200 blades while others made 2,000. But every blade he made was perfect. Every sword became legendary. His work was so superior that people paid 50 times more for one Masamune blade than for 10 blades from other smiths. He proved the principle: undivided focus on one thing creates value that divided attention across many things never can. Chapter 4. The Warrior Psychology. Why your brain craves distraction. Understanding why Ichigyo Zammai works requires understanding why procrastination exists. Your brain has 2 systems. System 1, the immediate. Craves novelty, variety, instant gratification. Wants to start new projects, explore possibilities, keep options open. This system generates the impulse to check your phone, start a new project before finishing the current one, research instead of execute. System 2, the meaningful. Seeks depth, mastery, completion. Wants to push through difficulty, achieve excellence, finish what it starts. This system generates the satisfaction of deep work and real accomplishment. Procrastination happens when System 1 dominates. You keep switching tasks, starting new things, staying busy without going deep. You feel productive but accomplish nothing meaningful. Ichigyo Zammai trains System 2 to dominate. By forcing yourself to focus on one thing until complete, You strengthen the neural pathways for sustained attention and weaken the pathways for distraction seeking. The neuroscience of single focus. When you focus completely on one task for extended periods, your brain enters a state called hypofocus. Stress hormones decrease. Flow state neurochemicals increase. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for focus and decision-making, actually gets stronger. When you constantly switch between tasks, your brain releases cortisol. Your attention span shortens. Your ability to focus degrades. You literally train yourself to be more distractible. Masamune understood this intuitively. Modern neuroscience proves he was right. The Buddhist foundation, Ekagrata. Buddhism calls this Ekagrata one-pointedness of mind. The ability to place attention on a single object and keep it there without wavering. Buddha himself taught, the mind is like water. When turbulent, you cannot see the bottom. When calm and focused, perfect clarity emerges. Scattered focus creates turbulent mind. Single focus creates clarity. And from clarity comes action. From action comes completion. From completion comes satisfaction and momentum for the next task. Chapter 5. The Modern Application. How you can practice Ichigyo Zammai today. You're not forging swords, but the principle applies perfectly to your life. Step 1. The one thing selection. Every morning, before anything else, ask, what is the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Not the 3 most important things. Not your top priorities. The one thing. Write it down. That becomes your single focus until complete. Step 2. The environmental design. Remove everything unrelated to your one thing from your workspace. Close all browser tabs except what you need. Silence your phone. Put it in another room. Create an environment where your one thing is the only option. This isn't willpower. This is wisdom. Warriors don't test themselves unnecessarily. They create conditions for victory. Step 3. The completion protocol. Work on your one thing until it's completely done. Not until you're tired. Not until you've worked for a certain amount of time. Until it's done. If it's a large project, define done as one complete component. One chapter, not the whole book. One feature, not the whole application. But that one component must be finished completely before you move on. Step 4. The transition ritual. When your one thing is complete, take a deliberate pause. Stand up. Walk. Breathe. Acknowledge completion. Feel the satisfaction. Then, and only then, choose your next one thing. This ritual prevents the slippery slide into scattered focus. It trains your mind that completion happens before transition. The advanced practice. One project rule. Once you've mastered daily single focus, extend it to longer time frames. Work on only one major project at a time until it's complete or until you hit a natural waiting point, like waiting for feedback. This seems radical in a culture that celebrates multitasking. But ask yourself, how many unfinished projects clutter your life? How many things are 70% done but abandoned? How much mental energy are you spending managing multiple incomplete projects? One project at a time means fewer total completions, but actually more completions than the scattered approach that finishes nothing. Chapter 6. The Master's Wisdom. Masamune's final teaching. At 70 years old, Masamune took one final apprentice. A young smith named Muramasa, incredibly talented but chaotically scattered. He'd start one blade, get excited about another, Work on 3 simultaneously. Finish none. Master, Muramasa asked, you've created 200 legendary swords. What's the secret? Masamune looked at him. I created 200 swords because I only worked on one at a time. You'll create 0 legendary swords because you work on 20 at once. But I'm faster than you. I get more done. You get more started. That's not the same as getting anything done. Masamune picked up a finished blade. This sword took me 18 months. Every day, I woke up and focused only on this blade. Some days, I made tremendous progress. Other days, I barely moved forward. But I never divided my focus. This blade received everything I had until it was complete. He set it down. You know what happened on the days I barely made progress. I didn't quit. I didn't switch to another sword to feel productive. I stayed focused. And those difficult days, those days of little visible progress, those were the most important days. Because those were the days I trained my mind to stay focused even when focus was difficult. That's the real skill, Muramasa. Not the ability to focus when work is exciting. The ability to maintain focus when work is boring, difficult, frustrating. That's when legends are forged. The 3 enemies of focus. Masamune taught Muramasa about the 3 enemies that destroy single focus. Enemy 1, the novelty seeker. You'll want to start new projects when current ones get difficult. This is your mind avoiding the hard work of pushing through. Don't let it. Difficulty is where mastery lies. Enemy 2, the perfectionism trap. You'll want to keep refining one aspect instead of moving forward. This is procrastination disguised as quality consciousness. Perfect is the enemy of done. Finish, then refine if necessary. Enemy 3, the comparison thief. You'll see others making faster progress on more projects and feel you're falling behind. Remember, they're creating quantity. You're creating quality. In 10 years, they'll have a pile of mediocrity. You'll have a collection of masterpieces. 20 years after learning from Hakuen, Masamune understood completely. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's not laziness or lack of discipline. It's the natural result of divided focus. Your mind, overwhelmed by multiple demands for attention, freezes. Unable to give everything the attention it deserves, it gives nothing the attention it needs. The solution isn't working harder. It's focusing narrower. Ichigyo Zammai. The meditation of single action. One thing. Complete focus. Total commitment. Until dawn. When you practice this, something remarkable happens. Procrastination doesn't gradually decrease. It disappears completely. Because procrastination cannot exist in the presence of undivided focus. You cannot procrastinate on what you're actively, completely focused on. The math is simple. Work on 10 things with divided attention, complete nothing. Work on one thing with total attention, complete everything eventually. Masamune's final words to Muramasa became his legacy. A warrior who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. A warrior who focuses on 1 rabbit eats well. Choose your rabbit. Focus completely. Catch it. Then choose the next. This is the way of mastery. This is the death of procrastination. This is Ichigyo Zammai. Right now, you're at a crossroads. You can continue dividing your focus across multiple tasks, feeling busy but completing little, wondering why you procrastinate despite wanting success. Or you can embrace the warrior's way. One thing. Total focus. complete commitment. Until done. This isn't easy. Your mind will rebel. It will crave novelty, demand variety, insist you need to work on multiple things simultaneously. This is the voice of mediocrity. Ignore it. Instead, hear the voice of every master who came before. Every warrior who achieved greatness. Every craftsman who created legends. They all practiced the same principle, undivided focus on one thing until complete. Tomorrow morning, choose your one thing. Not your 3 priorities. Your one thing. Write it down. Remove all distractions. Focus completely until it's done. Then choose your next one thing. Do this every day. One focused task at a time. Complete each before starting the next. In 6 months, look back at what you've accomplished. Not scattered progress on many things, but complete mastery of several things. That's the power of Ichigyo Zammai. That's the death of procrastination. That's the warrior's way. The forge is lit. The steel is ready. The question is, will you divide your strikes across many blades, completing none? Or will you focus every strike on one blade, creating a masterpiece? Choose focus. Choose completion. Choose mastery. The path is clear. Walk it with undivided attention. Ichigyo Zammai. One thing, always. Begin now.